everyone, welcome to part 2 of this little mini-series I'm making about designing some bird samurai. I'll leave a link down below, but basically I'm taking some old sketches of mine and reworking them into some new illustrations. The first video I was designing this character right here, and I focused on talking about the group as a whole, but for this video, I'm going to talk about this village that these bird people come from, as well as designing and drawing a new character. So let's get started. To start with, their village is located deep in the mountains. Everyone who lives there has some sort of bird theme to their clothing. And as per tradition, when they reach adulthood, each person picks a bird to represent them thematically. Most of the time, they pick it themselves, but if they can't decide, it's well known for their parents or leaders to pick a bird out for them. Another important factor of this village is that many of the people who live there are trained to become samurai. The best given the bird kimonos as a badge of honor, which also shows their status. So the larger the feathers on the sleeves, the higher rank they are. They are trained to fight with their bird outfits in mind, so from afar, people outside the village might mistake them for actual bird people. Because of this, the village's location is hidden away from outsiders. The children of the village are often referred to as fledglings, as they are much like baby birds learning to survive in the world. It's common for them to wear fluffy feathers and accessories reminiscent of baby birds. And once they get old enough, they will stop wearing these things in favor of larger feathers or larger accessories. Most, if not all, the clothes that these people wear have some sort of feather pattern or shape on their sleeves. Some, like the outfit in this illustration, is pretty obvious, but for people who work with food or maybe blacksmithing, have the pattern hidden in a more subtle way. Perhaps it's found in the stitchwork or colors of their clothes. Last video, I asked for some name suggestions for this bird group, and one of you guys said Tori Samurai. Tori means bird in Japanese, which honestly I really like. It's simple and not complicated, which is great for me. And going off this naming convention, I think I'll just name the village Torinosu, which translates to bird's nest in Japanese. Again, a little on the nose, but hey, if it works, it works. With a village like this, I bet training birds are common practice. Whether they are needed for transporting small messages to one another, or even in helping finding food or water. They're probably treated less like pets and more like members of the village, seeing how this is like a bird-themed village to begin with. As the people are trained who live here, once they get their bird kimonos or special outfits, they are divided into small groups, typically in groups of 3 to 5. Since we got the whole bird theme going, let's say each group is called a flock. The 3 characters I'm designing are just one group of many in this village. So this flock in particular will have the girl who specializes in small weapons like kunai and probably throwing stars, the guy on the screen right now who specializes in the katana and like swords, and the third person, who has yet to be drawn, will specialize in archery. Going back to this character, I see him as the leader of the 3. He's probably like a good tactician and is able to direct his small group easily. Looking back at the first video, I mentioned each character has a certain weapon, pattern, and mask. So for this guy, I gave him the katana because it's pretty iconic for samurai. Since he's a leader, I figured it would make sense just to give it to him. I experimented with different ways to attach the katana and sheath to his outfit, but ended up just tucking it into the rope belt he has, because typically that's how I saw photos of samurai carrying it. For the pattern, I went with one called tatewaku. It's meant to represent mist or steam rising up into the air. When reading about this, it was described as a way to rise above, whether that be in the context of rising above those around you, or like the problems or events in your life. This is an ancient pattern and was quite hard to create at the time, so only the noble or elite would wear it. As a leader of this little flock, he has probably risen above those around him in terms of skill, so the leaders of this village probably gave it to him. I feel like, going back to this village, the people who live in it typically pick out their own bird to represent them, but like the village leaders or elders would pick out the pattern to be made on their outfit. I did struggle with how to incorporate the pattern onto the sleeves. Like the last design, I include the pattern at the end, but I ended up stylizing the wave part into 2 curving lines and repeated it on each feather. So it kind of became like a little motif or element that was spread throughout his outfit. As for the mask, the bird I designed it around is called the red-crowned crane. This large bird is a rare find amongst cranes, so I bet this guy must be rather confident in himself to have picked this bird to represent him, probably thinking himself to be a lucky and rare find. In the end, it shows that he's not like others in this village, but also shows his more vain and prideful side. He might look all nice and soft, but he probably loves looking in the mirror or loves to talk of his great strength or skills. Looking at his design, I ended up changing a few things from the original sketch. One of which was the armor piece on his left shoulder. I tried leaning more towards the samurai armor rather than your typical European fantasy style armor that was in the original sketch. I still like the original look, but it didn't match the aesthetic I was going for. So after looking at some samurai pictures, I found something that worked. When showing this character to my sister, she said he looked like a girl. And looking at the hairstyle and facial structure, yeah, I can definitely see it. I tried making him look more manly or masculine, but nothing looked right. So in the end, I just left his face and hair as is. I might change his hairstyle to a ponytail or maybe a braid, but no matter what, I kind of like the length of it. It just looks good on him. Towards the end, I was almost done, but something about the design seemed a little plain. After taking a break and coming back, I saw that the chest area was a little too simple in terms of the style. There were large areas of white in his outfit, which looked a little as if something was missing. I experimented with different clothes and colors, but nothing was quite right. This part took the longest to figure out, so after again studying up on some samurai outfits and some Japanese fantasy fashion, I found something that worked. Basically, throughout this whole project, I've been compiling and looking at lots of different references to give me a lot of different ideas on where I can take this picture. So what really helped me in the end was layering the clothes with different colors and patterns and focusing on larger shapes first and then breaking down those larger shapes into smaller details and elements. So I ended up adding more little beads and accessories, some little rope that he could probably tie his sword to if he needed it, and trying to find things that looked more personal to him. So here are the final results. We've got 2 characters done, and all that's left is the archer. I plan on talking about how the bird village fits into the society that they live in and their role in it, so keep an eye out for that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoyed watching this video. So, bye bye!